Started. Hello, everyone. My name is Gaurav Gupta. I'm VP of Business Development for Nyan IT. And today we have a special guest. She's a genius, and I basically came to know about her journey while advertising for my company. And we were talking through a presentation, and then one thing led to another, and I came about her, what this person is all about. So that's why I have her on the webinar today. Nancy, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name's Nancy Walker. I've worked in tech for about 15 years now. I started out as just basically a tech, providing desktop support for a school district, and then moved over into the healthcare vertical and worked in a small hospital uh, in IT. And over the years, the hospital was my last employer. I was an employee, and starting in from about 2016 to late 2021. And during that time I really got into the the electronic health record, and they were going through a big implementation, so I got to deal with bigger hospitals and vendors and things like that, and MSPs that they'd had. And we reduced our need for MSPs as my skill level increased. And then it ended with COVID, really. I mean, it was kind of a forced lockdown, work from home type of a thing. I said
Yeah.
I wanted to make the move full time into as an MSP. So I started the company with a partner.
In
And
2020?
yeah, I think it was 2020 when I did that, and have been, close to 5 years now with with only IT Services LLC.
Okay.
Um, and we have, one big customer, or I can say, well, we're tiny, but I have one customer that is a school, virtual charter school in Oregon, with about 1,250 students and about 60 staff. So they have like a one-to-one uh, device to student and teacher. So that's about, you know, 1,300 endpoints. And
Okay.
then the other 700 are small to medium sized businesses, and, some in the healthcare vertical, some just in small businesses and various things. And that's where we're at right now.
All right. So that's how you got started. And let's talk about your challenges. This is an amazing journey, but you are nearly a one-woman MSP. You have Gage as your front person. He's the president also, and the business guy, I would say, for the company. But it's the engine is you. It's still a solo MSP in my definition. And it's a male-dominated industry, and that also not young male. I would say
Right.
mid,
But that's why
mid
I have a young male, because he is the good looking guy,
token.
he's my nephew, actually, Gage Cook. And he graduated from Oregon State just a couple of years ago with his MBA. I have an MBA as well. Um and so he's the one that gets the customers and they love him, and then I provide the service and make sure that it's high customer satisfaction. So I think that's probably what inspired me, was that I'd always wanted to know about the end user pain points, and
Yeah.
then develop solutions that would, take away those pain points. So automation and scripting came into that because, it was a leverage point that I could do more with my time than maybe others and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't so I I I started out with desktop support. I you know I did get some certifications like with Cisco a long time ago, so that I understood routing and switching, server maintenance, and just tried to not be I never thought that, okay, if I get into something, I'm going to break it. So I never let fear stop me from doing things. So I think that that's probably is part of the entrepreneurial
Yeah.
spirit, is that you break things and you fix them. As long as you don't give yourself a heart attack or an ulcer or something
A
like that.
technical mindset also, Nancy. That's what I feel. That a lot of people, as they age, they leave tech behind because they think that we need to be big picture people. They forget that still need to do first principle analysis. The engineering mindset they always had, they should never leave that. People do.
Yeah, it's too
And
bad.
that, in my opinion, might be a mistake. It's a different opinion from everyone, a different POV. But never leave the first principle analysis. Never forget that you have learned the skill. You should always do analysis, and that you'll be able to solve any problem, including technical or business or anywhere. That being said, let's talk about some scripting and automation technology. What was your first experience with scripting? And because you have 15 years experience, but it's not like you were doing automation your entire life. What was your first experience with scripting and how did it change the way you work?
Well, okay, so it's like a superpower, right? Because I just where I saw repetitive things happening, repetitive problems, or problems caused by inconsistent um I think of every computer as an individual kid. Even if I've got 100 of them that were made on the same assembly line, that robot might have picked a component from a different tray that makes that computer, just slightly different.
Yeah,
So I tried to come up with simple configurations, and so basically, I would say I anywhere that you started off solving a problem with clicks. I said, okay, how can I do this on a command line? So it just started out with simple batch scripting, right?
yeah,
And install this software silently, change these registry settings, so that I could get, a uniform machine,
yeah,
make it lightweight so that it runs better for people and doesn't, so less is more. And then I went into PowerShell. So PowerShell, I really found was very powerful, and it could, do single things to a lot of machines, or a lot of things to a single machine.
yeah,
And so then what I did was I kind of morphed into creating PowerShell one-liners. Okay, so I'm real big on PowerShell one-liners. So and so I learned how to, do nested loops and things like that, so that I could iterate through lots of machines or folders or what have you, or processes. And so then my batch script became a series of, PowerShell one-liners and things like that. And that was pretty powerful. And then when I needed data to be moved and manipulated, so that I
yeah,
could, so there's a story where the school district, with the 1,200 kids, they wanted to have a customized portal for each kiddo. So um, I started out with Excel and said, okay, I've got this database of students, this database of classes, this database of enrollments and things like that. And so how do I get that information in the consumption form to a form that it could be uploaded into customizing the portal? Well, so I just started it with, Excel and Visual Basic and, macros and things like that in Excel, but it was taking a lot of computing power and it was taking, minutes. So then I thought, God, either I'm going to have to get more powerful computers to run this and, spend the 10 minutes that it has to run all these routines, or I'm going to have another solution. So Chat GPT became my boyfriend. I mean, it's just like, okay, so it, 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 that really is a huge milestone,
yeah.
because it taught me Python in a weekend. So I was able to reduce that, high consumption of Excel over to a Python script that runs in 2 seconds, and does the same thing without that computing power. It's a beautiful language. And so now a task that, started out manually taking several hours, then with Excel and macros, to, 15 minutes to now 2 minutes. The only I could make it completely hands off, completely automated, but seeing I like seeing that it's producing no errors and things like that. So I've got a script that will almost not in real time, but daily update enrollments for 1,000, plus kids with 10,000 offerings and sections. And so it delivers a high level of customer satisfaction. So this customer, they pay us $10,000, $11,000 a month, and it doesn't take me much time. In the middle, the at the end of the school year, we collect all those 1,200 machines. We decide which ones we're going to keep. We uh, deploy them, and then we send them out, to all over the state of Oregon. So I'm able to do that now just from the comfort of my own home.
By the way, listeners who are kind of following, let me tell you that Nancy is the MSP for a charter school, and that school has about 1,200 to 1,300 endpoints. And I know what the rates for MS endpoints are in the market, but I will not tell you what her rates are to the school. But I'll just say that it's a no-brainer for the school to hire her because the number is ridiculously low. And so low that we at Nyan IT, we provide backend services to MSPs, and when I saw her rates, I was like, damn, like how we do this thing at a scale, and these numbers, her as MSP, are competing with ours. Um, mind blown, mind blowing. And that's now she's spilling the secret sauce. Like this is how she's doing. Like she has PowerShell, Bash scripts, and now graduated to Python scripts and these endpoints, which are laptops for the kids. She's assessing them, judging them on year end, which ones to keep, which ones to replace, and basically shipping them out. Go
A
ahead.
lot of schools only use Chromebooks. I mean, but we're
Yeah, yeah.
half Windows machines and half Chromebooks. The only thing I haven't really delved into is MacBooks. I mean, I have a little bit of personal experience with MacBooks and stuff like that, but Windows is pretty much the standard because you know most of these places really just need decent browser media
Yeah.
and Microsoft Office applications and
Yeah,
stuff.
for
So,
especially for the kids. Yeah, they're
mhm,
not installing AutoCAD on their machines.
right.
Yeah. All right. So, what other, apart from PowerShell and Batch scripts, which you were doing, and you are on to Python right now, what other tools and languages are you using? What's the IDE for the Python also? What database?
Yeah, so I just have it right on my machine, my laptops, so I just run just the free version of Python. I don't even I have a subscription to, God knows, I don't even remember the name of it right now, but I haven't had to I haven't had to um you know get into a repository or an IDE for that. I've just yeah. I
How are
mean,
you?
it's
No, you're not writing Python code in a notebook, like
yeah. I
Notepad.
use Notepad plus plus, 100%.
There is no IntelliSense in there, right?
Well, Chat GPT is my IntelliSense. And I'm good at syntax, right? So I just
Ooh,
I just
yeah,
iterate,
wow.
huh?
Wow. I said, wow.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
when
I've
I
got,
need to,
yeah, my deployment script will not only work on student machines, but it'll work on teacher machines. It'll work on SMBs just based on the logic that I've created in that machine. So, 15 minute, well, I can deploy out, Windows 11 Pro in
yeah,
15 minutes, right? I just use like uh, MDT deployment. I don't even use SCCM. I just use MDT, WDS, or iPixie, depending on what I've got, if I'm running it on a server. And then my script runs for about a half an hour, and it deploys out every app, every browser setting, every reg setting, and things like that. And just based on mostly the architecture of the machine, or the name, or a combination of those, and the use of it, it runs this script. It's long, but it's pretty light. The script used to be very heavy, but now it's, it doesn't have very much onboard stuff. And like, for example, if I need like a PowerShell script,
Yeah.
I just make the script. My script makes the script. I could share my screen and show you pieces, but basically it just goes to subroutines that makes, whatever tool I need. So that's
So
that's
you're
the thing.
saying your script is making scripts?
Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
yeah. So my script makes, 15, 20, 30 scripts. So then I
Wow.
don't have to load it with
Yeah.
the files and refer to the files and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Um, and same thing. So I had another SMB customer that needed to uh, change from one it's a marine a set of marinas, and they had a marina management, that tracks their customers and what slips there are and which marina they're at and stuff like that. And they were going from a hosted SQL system to a cloud system. Well, I had to get all that data from SQL and then push it to the cloud solution, so that their customers came, the boats came, the marinas, their slips and things like that. So I wrote it in Python, and was
Yeah.
able to get all that data out of it runs a few SQL queries on the database, and then converts it over just into CSVs that can be consumed by the new system. So now they're going from on-prem to cloud. So, I mean, it just depends what my customer needs. And then I just, create a solution that can accomplish those things. The other secret sauce is, develop good relationships with other partners, right? So I've
Yeah.
got, like other MSPs. I've got a local guy that I used to work with when I
Yeah.
was long, long time ago, but I cover his stuff and he covers my stuff, and he
Oh,
has
yeah.
expertise in security cameras. So he hooked me up with Unify. God, I love Unify. I mean, so now I've got Unify switches, routers, cameras, APs, and things like that, and was able to deploy like 50 plus security cameras on that marina,
Yeah.
and configure them. I can remote manage them, just add stuff. So that's basically what we offer, is like mass deployment um projects. uh doesn't matter what size. We bill extra for those special
I
projects and
get
stuff.
it.
And then a security stack. So that is kind of into like software as a service. I prefer total, TODYL. It's kind of like Sentinel One, but it has like a SASE and an endpoint. And so I'm putting that on all the endpoints that need the security.
But tell me
That
one thing, like in running your MSP, with so much automation that you have built in, like what are the tools or other strategies that you still use in running your MSP? Like what kind of RMM are you using? What kind of PAS? What do you
Okay,
have?
so my biggest tools are like Screen Connect, ConnectWise Screen Connect. I've
Likewise.
preferred that over like TeamViewer and Bomgar and GoToMeeting and stuff like that. Screen Connect has been fantastic. I use TrueGrid, and actually now sell TrueGrid, which is a great. It's it's much better than a VPN. VPNs are a pain in the neck to
Yeah.
set up and maintain and things like that on firewalls. So TrueGrid, I feel it's a subscription type of a thing, and we charge, $15 per user.
What
But they
about
can,
security? What tools do you use for security?
yeah, I
XDR.
use, yeah, other than the native, Windows and Chromebook and stuff like that, Todyl, that's our security stack. And it's nice because you can offer just endpoint protection, you can offer SASE, you can offer governance, you can offer audits and things like that.
Total. Okay.
Um, yeah, it's kind of like Sentinel-1. It's kind of less expensive. When I got into the security area, CrowdStrike was caught my attention, and this summer I've had Total, right? I've had experience with Sentinel at the hospital where we had a ransomware attack, and that's a whole nother story. That's like a whole webinar right there, because it happened in 2021 November, like 2 days before Thanksgiving, and it was like the whole EMR. So there was a ransomware attack, and it was a legit ransomware attack. No encryption, but data breach. Okay, so they grabbed
Yeah,
data.
we will have a separate webinar
Yeah, if
about
you
it.
want
Now
to do
that you
that.
have, I have a experience also, and I'll tell you mine, you tell me
Yeah,
yours.
absolutely. And so I got it into the offerings of security, because there's probably no thing that scares people more than a ransomware attack. That's the biggest. I think that's going to be a trend, is a trend. But if you can come up with solutions for people, not only you know to mitigate an attack, but to prevent it. The one thing I've learned is that people will not pay for security until they're scared to death about it.
I have the similar story, and we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
By the way, CrowdStrike, you were able to figure out when this CrowdStrike went down, you were able to figure
Yeah.
out what exactly went wrong within like 5, 10 minutes,
Well,
and
15
it
minutes or so. So I
15
heard about
minutes.
I woke up at like 6 in the morning, and I looked at the date. It was like the day before my birthday. So it kind of was in my memory. And they said there's this crowd strike, and it's shutting down, airport reservations and stuff like that. And so it was a BSOD, right? So I knew, because I'd been looking into security and what was actually calling. It was bad, basically a bad line of code in a driver, right? A kernel driver, right? So when the machine started up, it wouldn't start up. It just blue screened, right? So knowing that, knowing where the sys files are, I just Googled, or I think I just Googled, sys files associated with CrowdStrike. So I found the exact directory, and I think I texted my brother or something like that. I said, I think this is what it is, and I think this is the name of the file. And they're going to have to, they're not going to be able to push, um, uh, they're not going to be able to push a patch out to these because they can't start up, right? So they're going to have to get onto a sneaker net, have USBs that have boot up, and then you know, um, delete that file, replace it with a new file, and then reboot your machine, right? So I thought, that wasn't, and then some guy did like a YouTube video 3 or 4 days later. I still have that YouTube video, and he said, "This is what happened." I said, it was exactly the path, the file name, etc. that happened, and I thought, if I didn't have any airport customers, of course, like that, but I would have been able to get them up and running way
Yeah,
faster.
you were able to yeah,
Yeah,
go
because all
down to
you
the line
do
of
is,
code.
yeah, you would just, have ten USBs, get the whole reservation desk done. Because when you think about it, somebody walks up to a reservation, I can't find your reservation because my Windows machine won't boot up. And that's all it was. I mean, it was super, super simple once you had the thing, but it cost, I think it cost like in the hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more.
If
And
they
there's,
just had you, it would have
well,
costed.
this is the thing, is that at CrowdStrike, they're no different than
Yeah.
we are. They're just, they were great at marketing and they must have had some political contacts and stuff like that, but it's not rocket science.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, anyway.
Now, before we drop off, MSP is a male-dominated industry, and you are doing phenomenal. And what you are doing is borderline magic, sorcery, if you will. What advice would you give to somebody starting as a solo MSP today, and especially to women MSPs, women-run MSPs? What
Well,
advice?
yeah, suspend your fear, right? Learn the basics, learn the basics. And if you have an ethos of a problem solving, if you have that, if that's, I mean, for me, it's fun to like, I'm dealing with, a remote Veeam server, right? And it's having some pain points, right? Just go in there and figure out the clicks that it'll take to fix it. Use Google, use chat, you know, use the knowledge bases that are out there. But I would say suspend your fear and always, get the customers on your side, right? So one thing that we started doing is anytime I talk with somebody, the last thing I'll say is like, can you do me a favor? I'm trying to increase the number of my reviews. And we just started this, several months ago, my Google reviews. So I just text them a link to the Google reviews, and we went from 0 to 50. I've got over 50 reviews on our Google. I think it's tied in with like Google Maps or something like that, where you do that. And then the word of mouth will grow, right?
Mm,
So now I've got 3 or 4 customers that came to me because they just read some reviews and stuff like that, or they've heard somebody that's had a good experience. So always, if you're good at customer service,
yeah,
that'll give you an edge. Um, and then, partner with people. So like I said, with other MSPs or, software vendors, hardware vendors. So we've got partnerships with Lenovo and Brother and Logitech for hardware. Software, we have Google and Microsoft and TrueGrid and Total, and so just one at a time. That
yeah.
makes your offering stronger too, because then you can offer more and to have some opportunities for upsell. So like a small business pays us $1,500 a month to maintain their small Active Directory with 20 or so users, and it takes no time at all. Because you've got things automated. So you were talking about, so on the monitoring, I use Atera. I like Atera
Yeah.
because they have a technician license, so I don't have to pay by endpoint. So I've got it deployed out on 2,000 endpoints, but it does all my patch management. I mean, it has, you know, it's like Ninja One, where it's kind of says it's an all-in-one place, but there's nothing that's all-in-one. So I like that for patch management and some scripting and stuff like that. So let's say I deploy something out to Portland, but the machine actually lives in Bend or something. I'll be able to run a script in the background the next time that the machine boots up, and now I've changed the identifier from Portland to Bend. So
Yeah.
just little basic things like that. Um, but every day, what I like to do in my spare time is anything that I identify that I know how to fix, I just will convert that into um a one liner to a small script, and just either add it to my master script or yeah, so my master script even has like a place where it can just has like fix, add a
I
user,
see.
delete a, yeah, I'll show it to you sometime and stuff like that. It's about 9,000 lines of code because it's making all of those scripts,
It has become a
and
scroll.
yeah,
At this
yeah, yeah, yeah,
point.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like my my little manifesto or what have you. But it's
You know,
continuously work in
what
progress.
would be cool? Right now, you must be having some kind of a switch or something, some trigger that is triggering the script that runs, and I think on a certain period. Um, you have to get a magic wand and with a switch in it, like a Bluetooth or NFID ID or something like that, and you should like have a chant. That would be the code of be like a vocal code, and you say that chant word, touch
Yeah.
something, and the
The
script
last
runs,
piece of
magic
advice
happens.
is that, like, it's really it is like a magic wand, right? So where great power, so it's like I always say, use your superpowers for good, not evil, right? Because these scripts could, the reason I knew that what CrowdStrike was is because you kind of have to think like a
Yeah,
hacker too. So
agree.
you could really, you can put poison pills and backdoors and things like that and use your superpowers for evil. What I've decided to do is, try what limited superpowers I have is to try to use them for good.
I know you do. You live close to Salem, by the way, so be careful.
Right, right.
Um, all right. Before
Anyway,
we drop off, a few words about Only IT, about your MSP, please.
so it's at our website's at onlyit.org, and it's very simple. Uh, we offer like a free 1 hour consult, and based on a customer's needs, we'll be able to, you know, give some recommendations and stuff like that. We will take individuals, small, larger projects, and we have enough resources that if, with Gaurav, he can be our California, our California platform. So
Happy
anyway,
to be.
yeah.
And I'm from Nyan IT, JNANIT.com, and we provide back office services to MSPs. We are some MSP solution partners. So if we provide NOC as a service, SOC as a service, fixed service to MSPs, so that they don't have to worry about running their ops, we'll run it for you in the back end. And irrespective of what kind of tech project comes out of your clients, do not say no. Come and check with us because we will do it at a super reasonable cost so that you make the money and you don't let any competition get in your end client's domain.
And I
Because
can
once the
speak,
competition gets
yeah,
in,
I can
it's hell.
recommend Garth and his team too. He will help your business grow and you know, and maintain and improve quality.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
Hmm.
And thank you everyone for listening in. And we will have another webinar very soon, this time on ransomware. That's a great idea. Let's
Okay.
do that.
All right. Sounds good. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.